We're delighted to welcome back to the program a guest from just about, I guess it was just about a week ago, J. Christian Adams, attorney and president of a legal public interest legal foundation. And we talked about this case that's being argued in front of the First Circuit Court of Appeals tomorrow. And J. Christian Adams is been kind enough to join us tonight and talk about, just for a few minutes, what time is the argument tomorrow morning at the Moakley Courthouse, Christian?
Well, the series starts at 9:30. We're third, so my guess is about 10:30. The state of Maine likes to hide the job they're doing from the public regarding election administration. So that's what's at issue in the Court of Appeals.
Yeah, and just brief it for us, if you will. I'd rather have you explain it than me. I think I understand it very well. But what is at issue here is whether or not the voter rolls in the state of Maine, and for that matter, states anywhere across the country, are public records. And you're arguing, and you won at the district court level.
Exactly. Every court that has looked at this has agreed with our position and against Maine's position. Courts all over the country. So Maine's an outlier. And here's how it works. Congress, under motor voter, remember 1993, the law that had you registering to vote at DMV, Bill Clinton's motor voter law?
Yep, sure.
It created a public record provision that you were allowed to inspect election records so you can know whether or not the government is doing their job correctly. Well, every court that has looked at this says the actual voter rolls, the list that shows if they're doing their job, putting the right people on the rolls, taking the right people off the rolls, that's public, and you have a right to see it. And federal courts all over the country have said so. Well, Maine disagrees, and Maine says that they want to keep the work they're doing secret so nobody can figure out who is being removed as dead or not being removed. And so they will not give us the voter rolls. So we sued, we won, but then it's the law that said, and this is the best part, we'll give you the voter rolls, the public records, but if you talk about what's on them, we're going to penalize you with financial fines. It might be the only law in the country where the government has the power to criticize you for talking about the job that they do, good or bad.
Now, why do you think they have fought you so hard on this? Are they concerned? I mean, what you're looking to do, and I'm sure what other public interest groups are looking to do, is to see how often they clean the voter rolls, how many dead people are still enrolled in the state of Maine, if there are multiple listings of people in various addresses. I mean, basically, you want them to tidy up. And you want to make sure that there's someone looking over their shoulder, I think is what you're saying.
Exactly. I promise you, when we win this case and we get Maine's voter rolls, we're going to find the same person somewhere in Maine registered more than once. We're going to find people who have been on the voter rolls, even though they've been dead for many years. We're going to find those. We're going to find people who voted in Maine and voted in New York. And the government of Maine doesn't want us to talk about it. They don't want us to say that anybody found anything wrong with the job they're doing. It's like something from the 16th century, like if you criticize the king. And so that's what's at issue tomorrow in federal court.
Yeah, and the Maine Secretary of State, want to give her some publicity because we have a lot of listeners up in Maine, is Shenna Bellows. She's a Democrat, and she is holding on to those voter rolls as tightly as she possibly can. And you have won this argument in several other states and have gone up, I believe, into other federal districts, correct?
Yeah. And we won it in Maine. The federal court agreed with us in Maine. The lower district court, United States District Court, the federal court in Maryland agreed with us. The court in Illinois agreed with us. This is not a close call, which makes the bizarre intransience of Maine, including they issued a press release saying how we want to dox people. No, the only people we want to dox are government officials who don't do their job correctly. That's who's going to get doxxed, is when we find people registered to vote more than once. So every single court that has looked at this has agreed with the Public Interest Legal Foundation and disagreed with the state of Maine.
You know, I got to tell you, I would seriously consider, and I'm being, as a lawyer, I think I'm on solid ground here. If they're actually issuing a public relations statement claiming that you folks have the malintent of doxing individuals, people in the state of Maine, I think that they should be sued by you for defamation, and I think you'll win on that one because they have no reason to believe that is true. And even though. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No. I was going to say, good point. Well, the problem here, and I feel bad for the Maine taxpayer that they're being dragged along, but other states that have resisted this issue, other states that have fought this issue, end up paying six-figure attorney fee awards to the Public Interest Legal Foundation. This is ideological. They're being, by the way, the United States of Justice, the Merrick Garland Justice Department is on our side.
Filed an amicus.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I apologize. But I was very serious. I think that your organization, if that is the allegation they have made, that you folks were the reason you're doing this is for the purpose of doxing individuals, which is illegal, as far as I'm concerned. It certainly is immoral. I think they've defamed you per se. I really mean that. And I think
that's fascinating.
That I think there's a defamation cause of action there, because they made that specific allegation. If they said, "Oh, these people are just looking to cause problems and they're ideologues or whatever," that's all fair political comment. But to accuse you of doxing people, I think that's defamatory per se. But anyway.
You could probably look at every court case in the First Circuit involving a state, and I suspect there's not one single other First Circuit Court of Appeal case where the defendant state is issuing press releases about the case. They very much have thin skin.
Yes, thin skin, and I think they're on thin ice legally. And I'd love to see you go after them. I really would. But best of luck tomorrow. And when this decision is decided, and I trust and hope it'll be in your favor, I'd love to have you back. Jay Christian.
Thanks. We'll come back. I appreciate you having me. Great radio station.
You're more than welcome. He's the president and chief and general counsel of the Public Interest Legal Foundation. And if folks want to support Public Interest Legal Foundation, give us that website one more time, if you'd be so kind, Christian.
PublicInterestLegal.org.
PublicInterestLegal.org. Could not be simpler. Congratulations and good luck tomorrow.